But we're on our way walking to our first of 2 visits to Doomies. And I pass by a building that has a banner outside that says, Dearly Departed Tours. Now, this is, you hear of the Hollywood celebrity tours and all that kind of stuff. They drive around the bus. They show you stars' homes and stuff like that. This is a tour that's going to take you to famous Hollywood death sites. It's going to take you to, it's going to show you where all the Manson murders happen. It's going to take you to...
What about that shooting that I was sleeping at?
What, you did what?
Remember when I fell asleep, you left me there like, hey, do you know who died here?
Oh, that one. Yes. Robert Blake and Bonnie Lee Bakley.
That's
yes,
right.
They'll take you to that one. Exactly.
Where I took a nap.
Yeah.
In the car.
Yeah. So we go in and we start talking to the guy who runs it. Now, for our British listeners, they're going to be interested in this. Do you know the name Graham Norton?
Nope.
Okay. He is a huge star in England. He's like, I don't know, he's, I don't know if you would call him like their Jay Leno, or he's I guess a talk show host.
Okay, so Brian Lacey would know him.
Yeah. I mean, I looked him, he's like the like the 8th most influential entertainer in England or something like that. I mean, it's a huge name. Our British listeners are probably smiling right now because they're like, wow, these guys have no idea, but I have heard the name, so I know he's a big name. Well, the guy that runs this tour Graham Norton is openly gay, and the guy that owns this place was his boyfriend for like 5 years or something like that. Well, now he runs this tour, and they have like these buses that you get in. They take you all around. They even have different themes on different tours. So there's specifically a Manson tour. There is specifically a rock and roll tour where they're just taking you to where, Janis Joplin died, where Jim Morrison hung out, stuff like that, if you want to see the music side of things. Then they have a tour that's just specifically old Hollywood. Here's the, sorry. Thanks, Jennifer. Here's the flyer for it. You can peruse that. So, first of all, interested? Does that sound interesting?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? What do you think, Jennifer? Interesting? Yeah. So, and there's just a ton of these kind of sites in, we went to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Is there anything strange about Bela Lugosi's death?
He was, Bela Lugosi, who played Dracula, was a heroin addict. And,
oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was an old school junkie. And he had fallen on hard times. Did you ever see the movie Ed Wood with Johnny Depp? He played a film director. It was in black and white.
I didn't see it, but I know the movie.
So that's a true story. Ed Wood was a guy who was known as making like these B-level horror movies. And he idolized people like Bela Lugosi. So he hired Bela Lugosi like in the final years of his life to be in these movies. But Bela Lugosi, lived in a kind of a small house and, didn't make a lot of money and things like that. So, that in and of itself, I guess, is part of it. Now, in addition to the tour, they have a museum. The museum is attached to the building where you leave for the tour and all that kind of stuff. They had in this museum the car that Jane Mansfield died in. Now, do you know the story of Jane Mansfield? Do you know who that was?
The blonde girl, right?
The blonde bombshell, made movies with Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, that's right. She got decapitated, right?
Well, not exactly. The actual decapitation part of it, I think, is an urban myth.
Oh, okay.
But close. Because this car, all right, so, I mean...
Did they run into the back of a truck or something?
Yes.
Okay.
And do you know that if you look at the back of any semi-truck now, there's that bar. There's like it looks like a metal frame.
Yeah, so you can't get under it.
Exactly. That thing is called the Mansfield Bar, and it's there because of this accident. Because she was playing some dinner club in Biloxi, Mississippi, and after the show, was driving to New Orleans to do an early morning television show, I think. And the guy that was driving the car, who worked for the club, he came around a curve, he was speeding, he got surprised by a truck that had slowed down, and they just went right underneath it. this car. Let's see if there's something online there, Travis. There might be a picture of this car. This car, I mean, it was not a convertible, and the whole top of it had just been sheared. I mean, it's still attached, but it looked like the top of a convertible, like, you know, when it's halfway raised before the top of it has gone into its little
See,
area.
it's a good thing that I always lay in the backseat of cars.
Yeah, right.
Any road trip, I would
Well-
never be killed this way.
Well, here's what's crazy about it is there you go. There's one. Yeah. Hit. Yeah. This is. This will show you like what it did to the top of the car. Now, here's what's crazy too that I didn't know was that in the car you had Jane Mansfield, you had her boyfriend who was like also her attorney or something like that, and then see the whole top of that car, and then the kid that was driving was like a 20-year-old kid that was driving the car, but in the back seat you had her 3 kids. One of whom is
Oh, no way.
Yeah, one of whom is Mariska Hargitay. You ever seen this? She's on, what is she on? SVU
recognize
or something like that. Yeah, she's a successful modern day actress. NYPD. There you go. But Jane Mansfield had 3 kids asleep in the back seat and 5 chihuahuas. And the kids, like, everybody just escaped with minor injuries. 3 people up front die. And they had just moved, I think it was a deal like 2 where they were saying they had just moved the kids, like they'd stop for gas and move the kids from the front seat to the back seat, like they were up in the front seat, you know. And, of course, this is, you know, back when cars, there's no airbags.
Yeah,
or
but
anything like
as a
that.
parent, you wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, no.
Could you
but-
imagine? I mean, if you sit there and go, okay, you or them, it's like, oh, obviously me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, could you imagine if you would have switched seats with your kids and the opposite would have happened?
Yeah.
I'd just take care of their funerals and then it's time to check out.
Yeah, but even back then, I mean, you think about it. Yeah, you put this in perspective because it's easy to sort of forget. I mean, no car seats, no nothing. I mean, just loose kids rattling
I
around.
remember
in
as
the
a
car.
kid. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that much older, so I know
Yeah.
you had to done it. And Jen, like, I remember laying in the top
Oh,
of
right,
the
yes.
back seat of the
Yep,
car, whatever
yep.
that like shelf back there
Yep.
is. I used to hang out there. That was my spot until I got too big for it. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like I looked like a cat just chilling up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. You had that. You had the. Remember you had the ashtrays and the armrest. That was another thing that went away too. Not really a safety feature.
Oh, I haven't seen
but
that
yeah.
forever.
Yeah. So they had the actual.
It's weird how much things that we sit there and go,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they had the actual car in this museum, and like it was creepy. Like it still had like blood on
Yeah,
the
there's still
side of
DNA
it.
on it. It's like they cleaned it all off.
Yeah. I mean, it was heavy.